Have you been waiting for an upgrade to the Nikon Z5? Well, the Nikon Z5 Mark II is finally making its way into the market, and there's plenty to discuss. With new information surfacing, it seems Nikon is sticking to a familiar formula while making key refinements. But are these upgrades enough to excite both photographers and videographers? Let's take a closer look at what the Nikon Z5 Mark II has to offer. At the heart of any camera is its sensor, and for the Nikon Z5 Mark II, we have a 24.5 megapixel backside illuminated CMOS sensor. This is in line with expectations and remains a solid choice for both photography and video. However, what truly stands out is the addition of the latest XP7 image processor. This processing engine has already shown impressive results in other Nikon models, and its inclusion in the Z5 Mark II means better image quality, improved noise control, and enhanced low-light performance. If you frequently shoot in dimly lit environments or enjoy nighttime photography, you can expect cleaner and sharper results compared to the previous model. That being said, does this make the Nikon Z5 Mark II a groundbreaking upgrade? Not exactly. The original Z5 already featured a capable sensor, so this update is more of a refinement rather than a major leap forward. Some users might have hoped for a resolution bump to 30 megapixels or more, especially when competitors are pushing beyond that. However, Nikon seems to be focusing on fine-tuning performance rather than chasing bigger numbers. This approach prioritizes usability and reliability, but only time will tell if it is enough to stand out in an increasingly competitive market. One area where Nikon has made clear improvements is the autofocus system. The Nikon Z5 Mark II features a 273-point hybrid autofocus system combined with real-time eye and animal tracking. This is great news for portrait and wildlife photographers. If you've used the original Z5, you might have noticed that while the autofocus was decent, it wasn't the fastest in its class. With the XP7 processor on board, we expect better speed and accuracy, especially when capturing fast-moving subjects like sports or energetic pets. However, real-world testing will be crucial to determine just how much of a difference this upgrade makes. In recent years, Nikon has made impressive strides in autofocus performance, but the competition remains fierce. Brands like Sony and Canon have set high standards, and for Nikon to keep up, the autofocus system in the Z5 Mark II needs to deliver a noticeable boost in speed and tracking accuracy. Another important consideration is how well the autofocus performs in different lighting conditions. Will it track subjects reliably in low light? Will it maintain the same speed and precision in video mode as it does in photo mode? These are the key questions potential buyers will be asking before deciding on the Nikon Z5 Mark II. For videographers, the Nikon Z5 Mark II offers 4K video recording at 30 frames per second and 1080p at 120 frames per second. This setup is decent, especially for those who enjoy slow-motion footage. However, there's a significant omission: there's no mention of 4K 60 FPS, a feature that some competitors in this price range already offer. If you were hoping for a serious upgrade in video specs, this might be a disappointment. A higher frame rate in 4K would have made the camera more appealing to content creators who need smoother motion for professional projects. That said, Nikon has included 5-axis in-body image stabilization, which should help with handheld shooting. This is particularly beneficial for vloggers and filmmakers who rely on steady shots without always using a gimbal. Whether you're capturing footage on the move or simply trying to achieve shake-free shots, this feature is a welcome addition. While the Nikon Z5 Mark II may not be the dream camera for dedicated videographers, it does offer reliable performance for hybrid shooters. Photographers who occasionally shoot video will likely be satisfied. However, those who prioritize video features might find themselves wishing for more advanced options, such as higher bit rates or flexible recording settings. It's clear that Nikon is prioritizing photography over high-end video capabilities in this model. Looking through the Nikon Z5 Mark II's electronic viewfinder, you'll see a crisp 3.69 million OLED display. While this resolution remains the same as the previous model, OLED screens are known for their clarity and responsiveness. If you're transitioning from an optical viewfinder, this should feel smooth and natural. A high-quality electronic viewfinder makes a significant difference when composing shots, particularly in bright sunlight where an LCD screen might be less visible. Speaking of screens, the Nikon Z5 Mark II now features a 3.2-inch fully articulating display. This is a notable improvement for vloggers and content creators who rely on flexible shooting angles. The original Z5 had a tilting screen, which was useful but not as versatile. With this new articulating design, you get more freedom in framing your shots, whether you're capturing low-angle compositions or filming yourself. If you enjoy shooting creative perspectives or need an easier way to film yourself, this is a valuable addition. One thing to watch for is whether Nikon has improved the touchscreen interface. Previous models had somewhat limited functionality compared to competitors. Another welcome feature is the dual UHS 2 SD card slots. If you've ever experienced the frustration of running out of storage in the middle of a shoot, you'll appreciate having 2 slots. This allows you to back up your photos and videos on the go or extend your shooting time without frequently swapping memory cards. Additionally, the Nikon Z5 Mark II supports USB-C charging, adhering to the latest EU regulations. This means you can conveniently charge the camera using a power bank or standard USB-C charger, a small but important detail for those who travel frequently and want to avoid carrying multiple charging adapters. While the Nikon Z5 Mark II brings some useful upgrades, it's not without concerns. First, the core specifications aren't drastically different from the previous model. This could leave some users wondering if an upgrade is truly necessary. If you already own a Nikon Z5, the improvements may not be significant enough to justify switching. Another factor to consider is competition. Cameras like the Canon EOS R8 and Sony A7C II offer compelling alternatives, some with higher frame rate options in 4K. To remain an attractive choice in a crowded market, Nikon needs to price the Z5 Mark II competitively. So, when can you get your hands on the Nikon Z5 Mark II? Based on current information, Nikon is expected to announce the camera in the summer of 2025, likely before August. This timing makes sense, allowing the Z5 Mark II to enter the market at a peak demand period without overlapping with other models in Nikon's lineup. If you've been holding out for this camera, you might not have to wait much longer. The pricing strategy will be crucial. If Nikon sets a competitive price, the Z5 Mark II could become a popular choice among enthusiasts and semi-professional photographers. Overall, the Nikon Z5 Mark II appears to be a solid refinement rather than a revolutionary upgrade. It doesn't introduce radical changes, but it builds upon what already worked well in the original Z5. The improved processor and autofocus system should make shooting smoother and more reliable, while the fully articulating screen adds flexibility for different shooting styles. If you're stepping into the full-frame mirrorless world for the first time, this camera offers a well-balanced mix of features for both photographers and hybrid shooters. However, those who already own the Nikon Z5 may find the upgrades too subtle to justify making the switch. The sensor remains the same, and while performance enhancements are welcome, they may not be enough to create a noticeable leap in real-world usage. The lack of 4K 60 FPS might also push some videographers to look elsewhere. Nikon has made thoughtful refinements, but whether they're enough depends on individual needs. The Nikon Z5 Mark II is a steady, well-rounded update rather than an industry-shaking innovation, and for many users, that might be exactly what they're looking for.